All right, fam, today we're going to dive into Backstage Blueprint Series Part 2. I'm not going to read you the guide today. We're just going to talk about some of the horror stories that I have actually seen as a coach and really why I made this guide, and also just tell you a little bit more why you freaking need to download it if you didn't yet, because literally these stories, if for nothing else, just watch. You'll find it very entertaining. If you are a competitor or somebody who wants to compete, this can be a good video for you, I promise you. Okay, so basically, with the Backstage Blueprint, it was the survival guide. It's the guide that is supposed to guide you all the way through the experience of going up to stage, show day, how to handle that, how to tackle that, how to handle the mindset stuff for your friends, your family, the stuff they need to know, and also what to do post-comp. It's really what the guide is all about. And, you can download that anytime in the link, by the way. If you didn't get it yet, totally free. You're not getting charged nothing, no reason not to get it. And honestly, you can follow along with me a bit on some of these stories, but they're actually not in the guide. So let's dive into what these are and go through it. So one that I remember, it's pretty funny, right? Was what I'll call the Tan Meltdown. Okay, so tanning is obviously a big part of the sport. If you don't know that yet, because you're, maybe somebody who hasn't competed yet, you will know that when you're backstage standing naked next to a bunch of people getting spray tanned, and you're like, what the heck is this kind of stuff? I mean, the tan, no doubt, is a very big part of the show. It's how you look correct under the stage lights and everything else, and you will have to, do tan prep and get ready and do all that stuff. So I've seen, though, tan meltdowns. Not just one. I'll talk about just one, but I've seen it dozens and dozens of times. And why I made this guide, I was like, this got to be fixed. We got to figure out an answer for this. So I'll tell you about one story that I saw this woman backstage. I'm sitting there with my competitor. She's getting pumped. She's getting ready to roll. And I see this girl running around and she's yelling, I'm ruined. I'm ruined. And just the most crazy face you could imagine. It seemed like somebody got stabbed or something, but all it was, her tan was running. Her tan was streaking a little bit. And, it's a big problem. Don't get me wrong. Because if you show up on stage with that, it's not going to go well. I mean, it can mask how things look. It masks how the muscles look, masks, your confidence, even how you're going to get up there and pose and, be able to lock that in. So again, it's one of those big deal things that you want to just have your tan streamlined, dialed, no question about it. And hers was running. She's running around backstage yelling, I'm ruined, I'm ruined. And, the tanners and stuff that are there at the stage line are like, what the heck's going on? And, what had happened was this woman was literally walking around, hugging everybody backstage, all of her friends, her coach, all the people she knew. And her tan was literally coming off. Like other people walking around, her friends, her family in the audience have pieces of her tan on her. So, no doubt you don't want to be just walking around tanning people, with your own body because the tan's on you. It's a big issue. And it's something that comes up all the time. So, there's things in the guide to help you dial that in, prevent that, things you need to know, stupid things that you wouldn't think would be a big deal. But actually, you go present on stage like that, that's freaking game over. Okay. Now, the next one. There was a guy once at a competition. Granted, I coach, mostly women, but this is still very relevant because I see women making this mistake a lot too. There was one dude at a show I saw, right? Because everybody knows, it's not just like, oh, this is the women's side, this is the men's side. You pump up over here, pump up everybody, backstage. It's like a Metallica concert backstage, right? It's just all sorts of people everywhere, different. You're like, what the heck's going on here? Coaches and, random people that look like they shouldn't even be there, lumberjack. I don't know. Weird stuff going on backstage either way, but for sure it's men and women both, in the pump up areas doing things. And oftentimes classes are going to be, around the same time. So you'll see it a lot. Anyway, there was one dude I saw. This guy, one time, I don't know what he was doing. It was probably classic or something based on where his physique was. But I could count this. I almost timed it. I could have timed it. I timed it mentally. This dude was doing bicep curls for 45 freaking minutes, okay? I don't know what he was doing. And he just stopped also at the end. He just quit. He didn't even go on stage. The guy had no clue when his class was. He had no clue what was going. It was like bikini. And then for some reason, he thought he was going to go next. But actually, wellness ended up going next. So he just doing curls for 45 minutes. I didn't see him take a sip of water. He didn't take a freaking micro bite of a rice cake. The dude was just pumping, just curls. I'm like, man, this guy's elbows are going to be wrecked tomorrow. And I'm sure they were. He probably couldn't wash his hair for 3 weeks. Either way, the dude totally missed his pump. And, he got on stage looking flatter than a tortilla. All right. It's a big deal. All right. It's a big deal to miss your pump, to not hit that actual pump, because you can actually throw away a prep, a 16-week, a 12-week prep. You do all this time, all this energy, all this work, all this effort, you throw it away, right? And again, this is why I made the guide, how you know when to pump up, how you know what to eat, how you're doing all this stuff, when, how, and all this, to make sure that you don't become Tortilla Man trying to get himself on stage. Because I know all you ladies, you're like, it doesn't apply to me, I'm not pumping biceps. Your glutes be looking flatter than a pancake if you end up missing your pump on time, I'm telling you. So in the guide, get the guide, it'll tell you more about it, right? Another story, right? I got a couple, so hang out. If you like this, you guys like this style video, comment it, let me know. Endless amounts of stories from what I've done as a coach in this time. Okay, so this one, the comparison trap, the death stare is what we could call it, right? And, it is probably one of the biggest parts of being a competitor. Most of you watching, even if you haven't been on stage yet, you are already comparing yourself. You're finding people on Instagram. I know you do this. All competitors do this. People look on Instagram. They try to search the hashtags of the shows that they're going to do, or thinking about doing, seeing if any other girls are tagging them. Try, oh, is she going to be in my class? I wonder, I'm going to see if I can pull out a measuring tape and put it on the screen and guess her height. I know what you do. You do this. I know it. All of you do this. Comparison, is probably the biggest problem for the mental game of prep. But it does come in, and it really comes in when you get to show. All right. Especially if you haven't been there or you haven't done 100 shows, which most of you have not, it sneaks up every single time, because what ends up happening is you've been doing this ride, this solo journey as a competitor, training hard, doing your nutrition, throwing your headphones on, getting your mind right, listening to your coach, go all games, right? All game time. Then you get to stage and it's the real game time. You're backstage, you're about to go, and you're like, whoa, you're looking at everybody else. So you are seeing people that are actually in your class. You see all this and that, and you start to get in your head, and you can almost see the face on a competitor when they're doing this, because it looks like this every time. It literally just looks like that. It's like they're sitting backstage. You see them in the corner. You can always see, a girl, she's huddled up. She's got like her robe on. She's maybe holding a little bit of a rice cake on her phone there, headphones on. And she's like, just looking around, she's just going, oh, her glutes are bigger. Oh, her tie-in's tighter. Oh, her abs are, her conditioning, and it is the trap. It's the death stare as you look out and you're just looking at everybody and you're taking yourself into a death stare, right? And so when you do this, and in this story, I seen this girl, right? She's sitting there looking off into, everybody. And I can just see every bikini competitor walks by. She's like, oh, and she's bikini. So she's like, oh, she got up on stage, honestly, and fumbled her entire posing routine. And it was 100% because she didn't get right here before she went right. Like, she probably practiced religiously. Granted, I don't know who it is. Don't know her, didn't speak to her, but she probably practiced very religiously. She had a great physique. Everything was dialed. She would have honestly done very well at the competition, but she got up, started stumbling as she's walking out, get to the front pose. Like, it looked like she forgot her routine entirely. And she's kind of doing the death stare out at the audience. Like, first time she's been up there, or maybe not, but either way, she had defeated herself mentally, right? So that's, again, where the guide can come into place. I have actual literal cues that I use with my athletes that I coach to help them get their mind right if this kind of stuff starts hitting. If you're backstage and these start hitting, how do we prevent that? How do we stay on top of that? It's all in that guide. You got to get this guide, I'm telling you. And it would have saved this chick's day. I mean, she came off stage, very upset, crying. I think she didn't even come back for finals, which, don't ever do that, by the way. It's very, poor sportsmanship if you don't come back for finals, no matter what you place. But for her, could have been prevented. And it's sad because it really could have been prevented. Okay. Another one. All right. Another one that's pretty funny. This, not funny for the person, but can be funny because nobody thinks of this, right? Like, if it happened to you, all you could do is laugh. That's why it's funny, because you're like, what the fuck? Because nobody thinks of this, right? There was one competition I was at. I think it was maybe one of the Spectrum shows in Sacramento, if I'm remembering correctly. And, these girls pumping up backstage or helping each other. One's doing face pulls. This one chick, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. Everybody was freaking out. This one chick's doing face pulls or something, right? And the band, snaps, and it goes back and almost literally takes this chick's eyeball out. It's not funny, but if it happened to you, all you could do is laugh, because her friend, for whatever reason, maybe it was like all this, glaze or something on her hand. She dropped the band on accident, and it goes, boom, and it hits the wall right behind her. Could have taken her face off, right? But it didn't, luckily. But either way, this totally flustered this athlete's system, right? Like, she ended up freaking out. She thought, oh, whoa, I don't know what it was. It just totally shook her, rocked her boat to have her pump go wrong. In that instant, the band goes back, freaks out, loud noise. Everybody's looking. Everybody's like, what the heck just happened to this? What's going on with this woman? And, it may have been like an embarrassment factor, too much attention on her. I don't know. She didn't even go to her class. You guys, like, she went off somewhere, I think, to probably like regroup herself in the bathroom or something like that. And she missed her class, whether it was on purpose or not. She did not make her class. I was sitting there in the audience waiting for my athlete to go, and they keep calling his name. And then, they call your name a couple times. You're not there. That's it. Show must go on, right? So again, it's one of those things where you can easily prevent those types of things by having the correct pump up routine, knowing how to do it, knowing things to avoid, knowing where not to have those problems. And that can be a huge advantage, right? And again, it's in the freaking guide. So if you've watched this far and you haven't downloaded the guide yet, I'm telling you, it'll change your game. It's free. When you read it and you enjoy it, please share it. Give it to another competitor. It's totally free. You will get a lot out of it, okay? I'm going to go with a couple more here. I don't know how long this video is, but again, I appreciate you so much if you're watching. Okay, so this one, the waiting game is what we could call this, right? And this isn't even a specific competitor, because I will tell you, this happens to hundreds of competitors every single weekend, right? There's all these competitions happening, all around the world, And this happens all the freaking time, okay? And this is a variable I have to deal with as a coach all the freaking time. And that's the idea that you know exactly when your class is going to go, right? So all these promoters, they do their best job to give you a schedule, say, all right, we're going to start with fit model, then we're going to go to bikini, then we're going to go wellness, and then men are going to go here at 1 o'clock. And, they do their best, folks, but this never, I probably never lines up identically, right? However, every competitor wants to be glued to that schedule, to imagine that's when they're going to go and what they're going to do and how they're going to time their food and their pump up and all this and that. So comp day, you're going to do your best intention. That's really all you can do. Your best intention to meet, what it is you're trying to do with that pump up, with your meals, all that. But what happens, unfortunately, a lot at some competitions is they get very far behind. And it can be for reasons like competitors missing their class or other things, or whatever, maybe competitors are taking longer in their routines than they're supposed to, or, judge got to go to the bathroom, whatever it is, these things come up, right, where these classes can get pushed. So we'll call it the waiting game. It happens to competitors all the time, and it will ruin your freaking entire prep if you don't know what to do if you get stuck in the waiting game. So what I mean by this is, let's say, okay, you had your pump up, meal, whatever it was, you're doing your routine. All of a sudden, show gets paused. They say, we're going to return in, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. We got to take a little break. Too many competitors, blah, blah, blah. Or, things just keep going. They go much slower, right? Sometimes you see delays that are 60, 90 minutes. It could be 2 hours later than when you originally thought you were going to go. And it happens all the time. It's not uncommon as a coach. I'll tell you, I have clients, sometimes they're not even getting out of their finals. Granted, the events are doing much better with this, but it used to be all the time. The finals wouldn't even be over till like freaking midnight sometimes. Like, sometimes my athletes getting off stage at freaking midnight. I don't even know how they did until the next day, right? Like, that happens. That can happen because shows can delay. Now, what ends up happening that'll be a huge problem is if you prepared, you planned all your meals, you did your pump, you did all this and that, and then you get a delay, you don't know what to do. Because now what happens is your physique shuts down. You're going to undo all that, right? Like, all that pump look, everything, that mindset that was ready, all of it, it's going to go, because now you're going to sit backstage cold, tired, pissed off that you didn't go on yet. Your pump's going to fade. Everything's going to go away. You're going to get up on stage looking totally off, right? It's going to look just nothing like it would have looked had you hit it. However, there are ways to mitigate that. And, my athletes that go to stage knowing how to do this. Honestly, a lot of my athletes, there are fiascos where sometimes they even do miss a pump, and it doesn't affect their physique because we were planned, we were ready, they were poised to go. Again, these things are in the guide. So you want to get this guide and make sure that it's going to help you on show day, no matter what. Even if anything, if you compete already, you're already well seasoned, it'll help you with that. If you're not, it will eliminate so much mental warfare that you're going to have as a new competitor coming to stage. I promise you. Get this freaking guide. All right, let's do one more. And then, if you guys like this stuff, you like story time, Coach Rye will call it. I'll keep it coming. I got endless amounts of stories and, value points for you all. But this one, I will call this, we could call it post-stage funeral, right? And this does happen to a lot of competitors. It may happen to you. It probably will. You should be realistic. A lot of people aren't realistic, okay? So this one, this was a girl that I saw once, and I don't remember exactly the show. It may have been USA's. I think it was USA's in Vegas at the time. Pro card, this is where you can get a pro card. I was a sponsor there, so I was backstage again. So I was working with my athletes. I could see, everything going on. This was one of those sardine can backstage. Maybe all you know this. Some of you that compete probably know what I'm talking about. I swear there was like 300 girls in a room the size of the bathroom at freaking Jack in the Box. It was like insane what was going on there. It was crazy. And I was like, I can't even be in here because I can't even step in here. I don't know what's happening right here. This looks like, sardines, just like layers and layers of people. But anyway, this is what I saw. So class, big classes at nationals, obviously pro card on the line. A lot of people very, very serious, very, very focused for that goal, as you should be if you're going to nationals, right? You should be having dialed in 100% focus, physically, mentally, everything going into that. And, that's what it is. So for her, she ends up getting fourth out of a class, it could have been 20, 25. I don't remember. Big classes either way. She goes, she gets fourth and, instantly, which honestly, fourth place is not bad at nationals, right? That's a points away from a pro card. You got to upgrade a few things. You might be right in that pro zone, right? But she goes off stage instantly, full on panic attack, didn't win the pro card, just sobbing uncontrollably, crying. And, it was just not good. It's like a competitor funeral, right? It's like it feels to a competitor like a part of you died because you didn't achieve that pro card goal, which was such your focus. And all competitors that have been to nationals and not achieved that pro card goal know this. But the worst thing that you can do is what that competitor did on that day, where you enter that full on, just full on panic mode, panic attack, crying uncontrollably, like you're hyperventilating, all this. And, if it's happened to you, it's absolutely miserable. If you watch it, it's absolutely miserable to watch because you're like, you need to help that person somehow, but you cannot because it's literally just mental. It's all mental warfare, right? Competitors, I'll be straight with you. You're not going to win every competition. You're not going to win every event. You're definitely not going to win every time that a pro card is on the line. It just doesn't happen, especially at nationals. Very competitive. It takes years and years for some athletes to even get to the pro leagues, and many never will. So it's important to remember that, right? But, if you go into a show, obviously your intention should be to win, and you should be fully poised and ready to do that. But you should also be, realistic in the sense that your brain is prepared for any outcome. Your mind, your body, everything is prepared for any freaking outcome all the way to the point where there is no question. No matter what you place, you're not going to crumble. You're not going to lose your edge. You're not going to lose your mindset and fall to the floor and cry, on your hands and knees and, hyperventilate and lose it. Because I'll tell you what ends up that is it. You think it might be simple, right? Like, oh, it's just, somebody being too much in the emotions at the time. No, that person goes on. I've seen it 1,000 times as a coach. I end up coaching those people later on because what ends up happening is they go home. They think they're going to throw in the sport. They think they're done with it. They start eating terribly. They start going off the rails. They skip the gym. They gain 40 pounds in 3 weeks. And, then they ultimately decide, wow, I need to compete again. And they're in a very bad spot from it, right? And, you sink into a depression, almost all these things. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot more than a backstage moment. It's a lot. It's, again, things that can be easily avoided. And hence why I made this guide that will prepare you physically, mentally, and your friends and family too, to help you get where you need to be, to do your best on stage, no matter what it is, and continue on your journey and your goals. So, I think I've been yapping for a bit. So I think we'll cut it here. I appreciate you watching. If you guys like this type of video, let me know in the comments. I'm happy to make more story time with Coach Rye and things like that. But if you haven't downloaded my guide yet, you're freaking crazy. Download it, get that guide. It'll change your show day experience. I can say that 100%. I made this manual because I've seen it thousands of times. I've seen it over the years as a coach. I've coached thousands of athletes, and I know the struggles, the things they face. And I was like, this is, I do this every day. So for me, it's simple. But for most of you out there, you don't have coaches doing that. You don't have those, people in your corner. You don't have the right ideas, those perspectives that are going to give you those variables to be able to control and be able to conquer. And you don't want to throw away a whole prep because you didn't have one simple piece you never thought about, right? You want to make sure that you're going to have all of these things prepared, all these things ready, and know how to operate, know how to be your best on stage, no matter the outcome. Because I promise you, the stage can be minutes. The time, the energy, the effort, the finances, everything that goes into a contest prep, you do not want to waste that on a few minutes because you weren't prepared for silly reasons, okay? I promise you. So get the guide. It's free. You can download it and just read it. You read it many times. There's parts of it that you can save, you can study, you can share with your friends, your family. It'll help your show day. Promise you. I've already seen it. Even, we sent it out to, it's gone to a lot of people actually now through the YouTube and through competitions. And I've just been getting feedback pouring in. And even our own athletes are downloading it and they're enjoying it to even more, even though they already have the other side of the coaching, right? So, check it out, get it, don't sleep on it. It'll change your game as a competitor. I promise you. I'll put my, Coach Ryan's stamp of approval on that for that. All right. Thank you for watching yet again. Coach Ryan is out.